Welcome back to Kitchen Table Wargaming. This game is going to be a game between the AdMech over here on the right side of the board and the Grey Knights on the left side. We're playing a mission called Center Ground from the Grand Tournament book. Will be probably not as much scoring as a Grand Tournament game would, just because of the fact that it's a 500-point game. Over here on this side with the AdMech, we have Tech Priest Dominus. He has Divinations of the Magos for his Warlord trait, and that's the one where you get to pick one of 3 different special rules at the beginning of your turn. The most favored one has been the Exploding Sixes for shooting. He has a Datasmith, 2 Castellan Robots. These are not the crazy DACA bots. These have 1 Phosphor Blaster and the Castellan Fists for the purposes of points. We have a squad of Rangers, 1 guy rocking the old Arquebus. And then we have a squad of Vanguard. 2 of them have the plasma, and the rest have their regular weapons. So that is a 500-point list on the nose for the AdMech. They are going to be of the Forge World Mars. Then facing them is a patrol of Grey Knights. This patrol is led by the Brotherhood Champion, who starred in the last battle report and did some good working there. He's also got a Tech Marine backing him up and working on the brand new Razorback. First time it's been out on the channel, not totally finished painting, but it's pretty close. It's tabletop ready at the least. Just a lot more details to add to it to make it look super fly. You have a squad of Purgators, again 3 silencers and a side cannon in there, along with their Justicar. And then you've got a 5-man strike squad, and these guys are intending to be more alive much longer than in the last battle report. So let's see how this goes. We're gonna finish setting up. For this mission, if you aren't aware, you have the diagonal deployment zone, white going this way. So this is a deployment zone here. And then the red dice marking off to that end. Those are the 2 deployment zones. In the middle, you have objective marker A and A, and these are worth more points if you take them as a secondary to hold them. Then there's another marker on this side of the board, and there's one in the exact opposite down by the Arquebus. So you have 4 objective markers in total. It'll be a 5-turn game, just as usual, and then we'll pick some secondaries, and then we will get right on back to the game itself in just a minute. You will have just seen the secondaries taken by each side in the previous screen. So here's the deployment. The AdMech have deployed over here. The Ranger squad with the Arquebus are set up on a higher vantage point, also holding an objective. The Tech Priest, Dominus, Datasmith, and Castellans are here, looking at this nice wide open lane and eyeballing this objective here in the center, which is across from the Razorback, which contains the Brother Champion and the Strike Squad. They're both inside. The Tech Marine is nearby. He will be giving some support to this Razorback should anything happen to it. And then you have the Purgation Squad back here holding that objective, and they are in range of the Vanguard Squad, which is very near to the objective here in the center. So the Castellan robots are making a push over here on this side. The Vanguard are going to push on that side. Grey Knights, Purgation Squad, probably going to sit still. Not a whole lot of sense in them moving and making it harder for them to hit. And then, of course, we'll have some action coming from the Razorback and the crew inside that. So we'll see what happens here. We will do the roll-off in just a second to see who goes first. This game is about to get started. Here we go with the roll-off. This is the important roll-off. Green die is for the AdMech, white die for the Grey Knights, and the AdMech are going to choose to take first turn. The AdMech turn for moving is over. Castellans came out. They are not quite, well, possibly, we'll remeasure it in a minute, within range to hold that objective marker, but there's also nobody there, and it doesn't count turn 1. Datasmith and the Tech Priest moved up. He, of course, is using the override safeties divination so that all the 6s within 6 inches of him on the hits are going to explode. which means that the Rangers, the two that can see, the Arquebus, and everything coming out of the Castellan robots is going to have exploding 6s, which would be pretty nice. They are in view of this here Razorback, so that could be a problem for them. Vanguard squad moved their 6. They're now holding that objective, and the 2 plasmas can see the Razorback, so that could be yet another problem. The Razorback may not be long for this world. So we'll do the shooting phase. We'll come back when that's done, and or we'll summarize everything. We'll come back at the Grey Knights, start of their turn 1. Beginning of Grey Knights turn 1, very little happened. The plasma did not overcharge because they didn't have anybody to reroll, and the Canticle was for Shroud Psalm, so they get a bonus to their cover saves right now, even if they're not in cover. So the plasma didn't do a whole lot. They did take a wound off of the Razorback. The Razorback, before it was jumped by the strike squad, disembarked the strike squad. They got out over here. They stayed within 12 inches of the Razorback so they could jump it. The Tech Marine got into the Razorback, stayed inside with Brother Champion, and they used Gate of Infinity. The Razorback ends up over here, 9 inches away, interestingly enough, from the Data Smith and the Tech Priest, and they are the closest targets, so they could actually be shot at. That's pretty interesting. The strike squad is within range of a maybe 6-inch charge of the Vanguard, so they're going to try to give that a go after some shooting, and the Purgation squad cast Astral Aim. That's it. So we will come back at the end of this turn, beginning of the AdMech turn 2, and let you know what the score is. Beginning of AdMech turn 2. We've done some moving around. Tech Priest got shot at a bunch by the Razorback, had to re-roll 1 wound from the Heavy Bolter that snuck through, and he saved it. Shroud Psalm came in clutch for him. So he's moved as far as he possibly could over here. He's now in range to hold this objective marker. The robots turned around, went that way because the Razorback was now interfering with their plans. Data Smith went along. The Castellan in the back actually took 2 wounds from the Psy Cannon, and it's been healed up since then. The Data Smith also rolled and put the robots into their fight battle protocols, so there's no shooting from them this turn, which is why they weren't worried about staying within 6 of the Tech Priest. They might still be, but that's just because that's how the movements ended up. But they are definitely interested in making a charge. They get to fight twice when they're in this super fighty protocol. The Rangers stayed still, and poor Vanguard, they're gone. So the strike squad killed 2 in the shooting phase, made their charge with plenty of room to wrap around, killed all but 1 in the fight phase, and then the last guy failed a morale check. So that was the end of that. So the strike squad did the business, moved in, and claimed a kill. So here we go. AdMech, turn 2. They're going to kick this off. A little bit of shooting from the Rangers, and then we'll go right on into the fight phase, and we'll come back at the beginning of Grey Knights, turn 2. The Grey Knights are moving up. The Razorback has been deleted. Castellans and the Data Smith took care of it. The Data Smith actually took 4 wounds, 2 in shooting and 2 in combat, and then the robots just crushed what was left of it. So the Champion and the Tech Priest climbed out, Tech Marine, climbed out the back away from the enemies on their front. Just realized I forgot to roll to see if anybody died getting out. This could be scary. Let's do that live. Okay, so one of them's dead. It's gonna have to be the Tech Marine, you're dead, because I need that Champion to do some work in combat now. Well, that's awkward. No command point rerolling that in 9th edition either. Strike squad moved up. Really, they moved up to get shots off on the Rangers over here. Back over in the corner, the Purgators have moved forwards as well, getting all of their guns in range of this here Tech Priest. He is a Tech Priest. And they're still within 3 inches of the objective marker themselves. So that's going to be held by them. And yeah, we're going to come back at the end of this. We'll see if any psychic shenanigans plus Mr. Brother Champion's really cool relics and things will help. Yeah, will help. We'll see. It's looking like it's going to be another short game, but I guess that's how the 500-point combat games go. So we'll be back at the end of Grey Knight's turn 2, start of AdMech turn 3. End of the Grey Knight's turn, a lot of killing. Castellan robots and Datasmith are dead. Vortex of Doom was cast by the Brother Champion, went off on a 12, well, an 11, +1 for Grey Knights. Did 4 mortal wounds on the Datasmith, did 5 mortal wounds on a robot, which was then shot to death, and the Datasmith was then shot to death as well in the shooting phase. Castellan did manage to kill 1 more strike member because of his repulsor grid in the shooting phase. Then these guys have piled in. They got line breaker out of this turn. However, the AdMech also scored a few points, and the Tech Priest was injured as well. He was down to 2 wounds. He healed himself because he has already moved. These guys have also moved. Because they moved, the Trans-Uranus Arquebus, I said that wrong, but the Arquebus, the sniper dude, can't shoot because 3 of his boys moved in his squad, and in 9th edition that counts for the whole squad having moved. But that's okay. They now have line of sight, rapid fire. They're also within 6 of the Tech Priest, and he's still using the same divination of the Magos, so 6s explode, which means that that's a lot of shots coming into the strike squad. And the Tech Priest figured if he's going to be in range back here to get shot at by the Purgation squad, that he might as well book his way over here and try to do some killing himself before he gets killed. So that's where we stand. The AdMech also scored 15 for primary. They held 2, and the Grey Knights only held 1. Scoring in this for primary is 5 for holding 1, 5 for holding 2, and another 5 if you control more than your opponent. The AdMech also scored a whole bunch when they killed the Razorback, and then the Tech Marine died getting out. So there's actually a pretty decent lead from the AdMech. However, it won't take too much for the Grey Knights to catch up if the Grey Knights are able to wipe out the remaining AdMech. We'll see. There's a lot of shooting. The Tech Priest is not a slouch in combat when he's going up against small guys like Strike Marines. So we'll see what happens. We'll come back at the end of this. It's turn 3 for the AdMech. Grey Knights doing their shenanigans. Grey Knights turn 3. The AdMech Ranger squad was able to eliminate the Strike squad. Then the Mr. Tech Priest was able to do some shooting and hurt Mr. Brother Champion quite badly, so he's down to 1 wound remaining. He moved forward in his turn. Oh, and the Tech Priest failed his charge even with the reroll. The Brother Champion came in, did a smite, put the Tech Priest back down to 2. Oh, you know what? Tech Priest never had a chance to heal himself, so let's see. Of course, he healed himself 3. So Tech Priest is actually sitting on 5 wounds. So yeah, he's almost healthy. The Purgation squad spent a command point to cast a power that they didn't know. So they used Gate of Infinity, jumped over here so they can still claim Line Breaker. Or at the end of the turn, we can still get Line Breaker and even possibly get Assassination. So we'll come back at the end of the turn, and we will probably have some charges going off and a lot of shooting. So we'll come back at the end of Grey Knight's turn 3. Grey Knight's turn 4. This is looking grim. So Mr. Tech Priest single-handedly destroyed the Purgation squad with a little charge and some shooting. In the fight phase, Brother Champion killed off the last Ranger, which should not surprise anybody. So he gained 5 points for holding that objective, then has moved forward. The AdMech is still leading right now. The only hope really for the Grey Knights is if the champion here, who is also the Warlord, can finish off the Warlord for the AdMech and get a few more points for Assassinate. And then he'll have 1 more turn to try to score another few points in secondaries, but that's if he is able to kill the Tech Priest in this turn. So we'll come back at the end of turn 4 for the Grey Knights, and we'll see what's going on. This is what it comes down to, folks. The end of the Grey Knights turn 4. You had the Brother Champion failed to get his Vortex of Doom off. He went for that instead of the Smite to try to get more wounds on him. It failed. He shot. The Tech Priest saved everything with his cheeky 2-up save. So then the Brother Champion, with no other options, has charged. he will strike first. Let's see if the Tech Priest can withstand the fury of the Brother Champion, who would like to seek some revenge for his fallen Grey Knight brethren. We'll come back at the end of the combat phase. Apparently this is going to be an epic struggle. Mr. Champion was able to take 3 wounds off the Tech Priest. Tech Priest made 2 5-up invulnerable saves in order to stay alive. It would have been dead, should have been dead. Tech Priest got 2 wounds through with the cool Red Axe relic, but the Champion's 4-up invulnerable save kept him alive. So we remain 1 wound to 3 wounds. It's now turn 5 for the AdMech, who I'm sure he's going to heal himself, and then we'll see if he can heal himself and stay alive long enough, because the Brother Champion fights first. But then again, I believe Mr. Tech Priest has a pistol in his pocket, so it might not matter. Very interesting. So both of them making their invulnerable saves, the Tech Priest coming in clutch with 2 more 5-up invulnerable saves. He did heal himself, then he took another 3 wounds from the Blade of the Forsworn that the Brother Champion carries with him. So back down to 1. He struck and hit 3 times, and the Brother Champion saved all 3 on 4s. So the combat continues. Grey Knights turn 5. What a finale. Even though the Brother Champion stands triumphant, it is actually a loss for the Grey Knights. The AdMech scored far too many points with secondaries. He was smote to death. Grey Knights did everything they could. They even spent a command point for the Brother Champion to cast a second spell, so we got Mental Interrogation to go off. That was one of the secondaries, so got another 3 points for that. And then he cast a Smite and killed the Tech Priest. However, there were just not enough turns where they controlled as many objectives as the AdMech. Only scored Linebreaker twice. It was a very interesting game. This was the end of turn 5. There's no possible way to score more points. It ended up being 55 points to 47 points in favor of the AdMech, even though the Grey Knights were the last ones standing. Thank you for watching. This has been another Kitchen Table Wargaming Battle Report. Hope you enjoyed it. And these 500-point games are very, very interesting. We will continue to play some of these and get more armies. Again, thanks Hostile Galaxy for lending us terrain and mats. And we will be back soon. Thank you.